Hi guys, my name is Hi guys, my name is Carly and my research project has been about why we travel. So, we should care about this because people are traveling all day, all the time, normally without COVID, and there's a lot of external factors that go into the places people are choosing to go to, and they may not be realizing that. And it's especially important right now during COVID to study this because a lot of people will be planning for their future travels. And if there's an economic benefit from these places of tourism where all of their economy is based on people traveling there, and we can find a way to influence people to travel to more places, then we can help the economy in these places. My independent variable is the amount of knowledge you knew beforehand of going to this place about that place, and then my dependent variable is the place that you chose, so the destination. So, the first section of the literature that I'd read is about tourism and politics, how they kind of go hand in hand. And basically, political leaders can influence your decisions to travel to places based on what the current state of their economy or their politics is in other places and in your home place. So, the political leaders basically influence people's opinions based on what you hear in the news, and they also can directly limit your travel based on places they put travel restrictions on or anything like that. And that also could be a benefit to places like the US territories, like Puerto Rico, Guam, stuff like that. They encourage traveling there, and you don't need a passport, so they make it easier for you, versus like Cuba, only for education or work, things like that. Can you travel to Cuba? You cannot really just go there for enjoyment. So that's how they directly impact your tourism. The nature of tourism is more looking into why people choose to travel. And basically, from Johnson here in 2010, he wrote that people travel to satisfy their social needs. And he did a lot of research on that. And that's kind of what influenced my work, is why people travel. And is it because they want new experiences? Is it because they are bored of their home place? So that's kind of another thing we'll look at here. And then the previous research, I used this study. I'm not sure how you say these last names over here, but I did use most of this study to influence my work. So they actually based their research off of a study that was done in Athens, Greece. And from that study, they learned that people plan their travels, their destinations based on the transportation that's available in those places. So if there's no city bus system or anything like that, then people are less likely to travel there, was what the previous study was. And these three people, what they had done is look at the Metro 1 line in Athens, Greece also. And this Metro line went through some major renovations in 2009 and 2010. And during that time, these researchers went in and took a look at how many people were using the metro beforehand, which was almost 500,000 people a day. And once the metro opened back up, they sent people out, researchers out, to do face-to-face interviews. And they found that most people, if they had access to a car, they would start using that. And some people chose to cancel their plans altogether. And the majority of people just ended up walking to their destinations. So this is interesting in my research because I want to actually focus on why people are traveling and not what drew them to that specific location, like transportation. However, my focus will be more online. So I will be sending out email surveys to people that had planned their trips within the last 2 years for one particular airline, and then people that are planning their trips for the next upcoming year, and which will be great since January is coming up. It'll be the full year. If anyone has trips planned from January till December, they'll also get the chance to fill out the survey as to why they're choosing these places. And even in previous research and in my research, everyone notes that there is little research done as to why people actually travel and what makes people pick particular places. So my study will just be broad enough to spark interest, and it'll promote further study, and it'll kind of connect all of the previous research. So whether it was on like the metro transit I just talked about, Or some people had looked into cruise lines, people that will fly places to take a cruise, and my research will just be more general. My research will more focus on national travel since I'll be using one particular airline, and through that company they'll send me a list of everyone that has purchased a ticket in the last 2 years and the upcoming year, and I'll be able to target those who are just traveling for fun, and that will be seen as through the first question in the survey. So some of the challenges that I'll face is that people who are responding to my surveys, since it'll just be by choice, they may already have a bias, and people just may not respond in general, and there's nothing I can do about that aside from trying to encourage them to. Something that I may face is how people are going to consent to the survey. For that, I will have the first question on the survey will be, do you consent to this, and do you fully understand what you're getting into, and have all of the research objectives been explained to you? If they hit yes, they'll continue on to the survey. If they hit no, they'll be instructed to exit the survey right there. And then something they may be concerned about is the protection of their identity, and to combat that, we'll be using Microsoft, which is a little bit more encrypted and a little bit harder to hack. My plan will be to ask most questions on the Likert scale of agreeance, so do you strongly agree, agree, disagree, strongly disagree. There will be some dichotomous variables that are yes or no questions, and those are just straightforward questions. You either do or you don't. And for most of the statistics, we'll be using t-tests or the interquartile ranges. And then every question will have a purpose, and every question will lead us to be able to link the variables or see if there's no correlation. Here's our schedule. It's pretty brief. The whole project should take about 4 months. It'll all be online. There'll be no meeting up in person, so it should flow pretty quickly. The budget will be about $6,100. We'll have a researcher, and 2 students will receive a $500 scholarship each when they complete the project, and there'll be a $100 miscellaneous budget, and that's just in case, or for computer systems or anything like that we may find we need. And overall, we should care about this, we should study this, because tourism is important for a lot of economies. If we can find out why people are traveling through a simple survey, then we can help these economies, we can bring more people there. And then there's a lot of gaps in the research that's already been done. So if we can bridge these gaps and bring everything together, then we'll be able to learn more and ask more questions. In the future, we can do more research, and we can even promote more questions, and eventually we'll be able to encourage people to travel more. So thank you for listening.